let's talk about multidimensional lists. And list itself can contain other lists. So basically one element inside a list can be list itself. And here is an example of a matrix basically. Let's try to write it on the board also. So for example, we have a list, and inside this list we also have two lists. I will just write those here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. I'll just write those brackets so they are kind of separated. And here we have one element, here we have second element, and both those elements are lists themselves. Basically, what we can say, it's a matrix which has two rows, and every row has 3 elements or 3 columns. And what we can do here, first we can check out which or how the indices are counted. And if we take a list, for example, if we would have list A and P, whatever they are, then basically this is here is the index 0 and here is index 1. What happens here is that this is basically like the first element, or A, and this is the second element, or P. And we can say that the index here is 0 and the index here is 1. So if we would like to get, let's say it's a MS matrix, we can, if we want to get M, the first element of M, then we will get a list. And also if we would like to get the second element or the second list, we can just use index 1 here. Okay, this gives us the lists, but how to get elements inside the inner list? Here we can use what we have learned so far. So we can use index to point to certain element of a list. So let's say this is a list, and if I would like to get a certain element of this list, I can use index. So I can apply, for example, let's say 1, then I would get the second element of this list. And how it works, so first we will take the element at position 0. So this is this list. And from that list, I also take the element at position 1. So basically, those are the indices here, not 3, it's 2. Let's say it's 2. And the element at 1 is basically this element here. So to get element inside this matrix, we first have to take the row or the element which is list itself, and then inside this list we will take element at position 1. The same can be done, for example, to get this element here. I can write this as M at 1 gives me the second list, and from this I will take element at position 2. We can use also the negative indices. For example, the same would be to get M minus 1 minus 1. What happens here is that M is the big matrix or the list. Minus 1 takes the last element. So here I used positive indices, but I can also use minus 1 and minus 2 here. Those are basically the same. So, and minus 1 points to the last element of this M list. And from this list, I also take the last element, or the element at position minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Here is minus 3, so mixed up. Yes, the point to conclude, basically we can every element inside the list can be list itself, and all list operations can be used for those inner lists. Basically, inside the inner list we can always also have lists and so on. So it's no way forbidden to use lists, and so on. So then we just would have an opportunity to use also brackets to get elements inside the inner list of inner list. And yeah, here are some examples. We can also use slicing here. For example, we can take two elements of the last elements of the last element inside the matrix. So this gives us the last element itself, or the last list, and from here I can take two last elements. So I omit the end index, and that gives us 5 and 6. Yes, and here are some other examples also. So you get this one, we can use 0, 0, and so on.